and then you
Hold on,
you
that's all I wanted. I just want to build a bridge against mine.
Let me know if it indicates on there. All right, guys. We are live from the show floor here at Xponential 2025. Exciting times. We're going to be taking you guys around the show floor together today and talking to a handful of our great partners in the industry. And so, first of all, we are going to be checking out this amazing aircraft from Wisk. It's an eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing. So we're going to walk you over there in a second. I'm joined by my brother Josh. Say hi, Josh. Right on. And then definitely want you to take a look at the Echodyne booth that we're standing in right now. We've got our Echo Shield set up here. And actually, if you want to come out kind of to the hall, you can see, we're here live from the Expo. And if connectivity is poor on this, then we'll have the recording. We'll push it up later. Hopefully, you guys can hear me just fine. But otherwise, we're standing here, and then we're going to go take you to a couple booths. Live here this week in Drones every Thursday, coming to you same time. We're actually noon Central Time today. Usually I'm coming from the East Coast, so it's 1 p.m. EST. But pretty excited to do this, and we're going to walk with you this way to check out this wild electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, the future of advanced air mobility. I mean, check out the size and scope of this amazing machine. And I think we may be able to get a couple comments from some folks here, but otherwise, I just wanted to take you to see what it looks like from the inside because it's pretty unique. Check this out. Is there a possibility we could sit inside of it? Or?
Yeah, if you do so quickly, just
okay.
Oh, yeah, because you're here. Let me actually introduce you to Karen.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
live
I'd love. Yeah, we are. I'd love to. Can I sit in that for a second?
Of course,
yeah.
please.
I just wanted to kind of take a look at it and check this out as we come in here.
There's a wireless there was a cup holder at least.
Ready to get going, ladies and gentlemen.
Dispenser
So,
on
these are going to take people on regional hops between, certain like GA airports and like specific hops that are going to hopefully save time, almost like the Uber scenario, Uber and Lyft, if you will. And yeah, I'd love to meet anyone that's available.
Yes, let me grab somebody for you, please.
Awesome. Senor, how are you doing? We are actually live, Mr. Andrew. Right.
Nice ride.
Oh, we are live on
live.
the podcast. So, how are you doing? Do you want to be on the live podcast? Because we're streaming right now.
I would prefer not to.
Okay.
But
Well,
he
no
might like
problem.
it.
Sure, I'll be on.
How are you doing, man?
Good.
Great. Yeah, David Lewin with This Week in Drones.
Yeah, great to meet you.
We're looking at this amazing device here. As soon as they're ready, we're going to jump in and kind of talk to them for a few minutes. But throw me one comment from the show. What have you observed?
It seems a little bit more mellow than in previous years. But
Sure.
it's overall pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see where the industry's going.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
we're able to fly further, higher. It's pretty amazing to see the industry. Anyway, thanks, Ian. Appreciate you jumping on while we're going. How you doing?
Hey,
Hi.
Hi, I'm Carrie,
Hi.
Communications Manager at
Oh,
Wisk.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm David Lewin with This Week in Drones. And do you mind if I hold this mic so we can hear you?
Absolutely. It's going on YouTube or
Yeah, we're
LinkedIn?
streaming live, actually, to LinkedIn and YouTube. And my brother Josh is holding the camera here. But so I just thought this looked amazing and wanted you to share with our audience. It's made up of lots of folks that are involved in, flying drones for inspections or, everything, advanced air mobility, future air mobility, law enforcement agencies, flying dispatch 911 calls, with drones. And that's kind of a makeup of who we're talking to. But I just wanted to give people a window into just what is this machine? What does it do? What does the future look like? Just a few comments from you guys, if you don't
So
mind.
this is for the commercial space. So
Okay.
we hope to fly passengers around, 4 passengers in our all-electric autonomous aircraft. So it is an eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, otherwise known as an air taxi. We are fully autonomous. There is no pilot on board. But it is overseen by a multi-vehicle supervisor on the ground in a ground control station.
Okay.
So there is someone overseeing the flight, making sure it gets where it needs to go, but the plane completely flies itself.
Awesome. Okay.
So the distance is around, it could go 90 miles,
Okay.
but we we imagine flights will be closer to 30 miles, maybe 10, 15 minutes to get you from A to B, much faster than in a car stuck in traffic.
Okay. So yeah, it's maybe regional air mobility, or like you're maybe a drop off at like a GA airport that might be underutilized today.
Right.
I mean, I'm guessing here, but then you'd pop them over to another one, and then they could get right to their destination.
That's right. We have a map of Houston we can share with you, but we're looking at Ellington and Bush and Hobby airports, downtown here at the convention center and the energy corridor, where there are a lot of folks commuting. Houston is our intended launch city in the U.S.
Really?
By the end of the decade. We're also doing some work in Los Angeles.
Okay.
In Brisbane, Australia, intending to launch by the 2032 Olympic Games there.
Right
But
on.
regional air mobility is one segment. We kind of fall under urban air mobility.
Okay.
Focusing on cities first with that 90-mile range. Regional air mobility, it's an attractive potential use case for us, hopefully in the future, but it all depends on batteries and how far you can fly.
Okay. Are you expecting more innovation on that side of the house?
Definitely.
To help extend flight time?
It's definitely an interesting use case.
Okay.
We are fully focused on flying with passengers right now.
Okay.
And launching our air taxi with passengers. But in the future, you could think of other use cases like medical, cargo, things like that.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
Totally. Thanks. Alrighty. Let's head this way. Right on, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any comments or questions while we are live, we can't check those currently because we're just running right off a mobile phone, but we'll go back and comment in later. But all the community love all the comments, so feel free to send them in. And oh, look who is here. Is this Abigail Smith? No way. Abigail, how are you doing?
How are you?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You want to hold one of these and just kind of keep
sure.
it kind of like below your chin down here?
It kind of looks like a quarter, but
exactly.
not. Or a little tiny hockey puck for Barbie.
Exactly. How did you know? That's exactly where I got it.
I knew it. And it doubles as a speaker. Come over here.
Yeah. Let's get out of traffic for a second. Well,
oh my God, I've been having such a good week. And it's great to see you, as
too.
always.
Well, thank
And
you.
you've got your Radar Love t-shirt on.
I do,
Of course.
They're getting popular. I mean,
they're so cool.
Yeah. I mean, Echodyne was smart because they made them like short run, and then everybody wants them, and now they're in high demand. Eventually, they're going to be worth
they're going to be a collector
hundreds of
item.
dollars.
And I hope that every year you change them. So you say, oh, is that the 2024?
Exactly.
Or is that the 25? I think that'd be fun.
I love it. All right. Well, we're live with the beautiful community that's growing
world.
with This Week in Drones.
Yeah.
And so
Well, this has been an amazing week in drones.
Yeah, well, please. I mean, what comes top of mind?
Well, I mean, I think I saw you around the corner at the WISP, which is like the drone of drones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and way up on the safety continuum. And it's also been fun to see the young people. They're having like a student drone competition and drone cages way at the other end.
Right.
So
I think we're gonna head.
Last night, I was meeting with some clients, and there was all this screaming, but it was joyful screaming. And so we were kind of giggling because they're trying to talk, but we had to pause periodically because people were having such a good time and getting their hands on the joy that modern technology really can bring to the world.
Oh, I love that. I mean, you always say, if you can dream it, you can drone it.
If you can dream it, you can drone it.
I love that.
And there's a good side and there's a bad side to that.
Yeah.
And I was just reflecting on all of the different learning that I had. And of course, these things, let's just be clear, part of it is just wonderful to see friends from all over the ecosystem and come together in this environment. But I was thinking about one of the keynotes that I listened to, and it really was profound for me in thinking about how we all go about business. Mm-hmm. And it was, I think her name is Sue Gordon. She was the intelligence woman. She was like top intelligence official in the United States. And she said, if you don't think in this industry that people are watching you and trying to get information, you're not paying attention. You're either transportation for somebody to do a nefarious act, or you're a target.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, I mean, and this is, coming out of having a security clearance in the past, and I was always very aware, but it really helped me think differently about in this second journey of my life what's going on.
That's good.
But so that was a sobering part, but I mean, there's been like just so much going on, and it was really nice to talk with you and Leo over at the Echodyne booth and think about the wonderful opportunities that innovative radar brings
Totally.
to this ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
Well, and
yeah.
we talk about, having airspace awareness,
Yeah.
because as we move towards automation, you mentioned WISC, we
Yeah.
got to go sit in the eVTOL earlier, but it's totally pilotless, right? And
Right.
they have a pilot that's meant to control like a handful of them at a time, but
Right.
to get to that
One to
level of
many.
safety
Yeah.
and automation, you've got to have really, really good data, and
And something else that I'm
Yeah.
going to double
Please.
down on that I think we should do a follow-up podcast about is
Indeed.
electronic conspicuity and the
Mhm.
criticality of everyone in the sky being visible in a digital world. As we move to the digital national airspace system, don't be confused, it's coming.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody's got to play. And I know that's change, and I know change is hard, but we can do it. We can do it.
If you can dream
If
it.
you can dream it, you can drone it. And we as a
Yeah.
society can make that decision
That's great.
to be conspicuous and move to a digital NAS.
Yeah.
It's going to increase safety, and it's going to unlock opportunities that we've never even imagined before.
So
And
on
so
that,
we'll need to do more dreaming.
I love that. Any last comments on that note, for if anyone's listening out there that has creative ideas for creating that conspicuity or supporting it, or what's one
so call
nugget
me.
you can
I'm
drop for
I'm
that?
on LinkedIn. I think David, you'll probably you'll hashtag me when this is
Sure
done.
thing.
But I'm Abigail Smith on LinkedIn, and I look like this more or less on my profile picture. But I think the other thing is get involved with trade associations. Talk about it on podcasts. Each person can really make a difference in a change movement.
Yeah, for
Change
sure.
has always been one person at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, comment on what you do, just in
Oh,
closing, because that way
well,
people can.
I have
Your consulting firm.
I have 34 years of federal government experience, most of it at FAA, a little of it at the National Transportation Safety Board. So in my consulting world in the last 16 months, I help people with this drone, advanced automation, and aviation innovation ecosystem.
Yeah.
I help test sites a lot. I help with air traffic training. I help with leadership and organizational development, and people that have problems with the Spectrum office. But it's really about helping people navigate the aviation industry. And it's been so rewarding and such wonderful people to work with.
Come on. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much.
It's great to see you.
really appreciate it. Thanks for your
have
time.
fun walking around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to some of your other friends here
Yeah.
in a second.
Cool, man.
All right. All righty. Well, do you have the time by chance? Or yeah, keep that. We are going to sit down here in a second. How are you doing,
David?
Zevi? Good to see you.
again.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, Josh, you met. So we've got a few minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Absolutely.
We can chat. We can sit down
Yeah.
here. We got the New York test. Rubin, one of my buddies, and he's doing all great work there. I'll have you, if you just want to hold it, or I can clip it for you.
That's perfect.
That'll be
Thank you very much.
beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
Well, how about let's have a seat
Yeah.
and give Josh a decent angle.
Yeah.
Hopefully we look good in this lighting. But yeah, just tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
A couple comments about your journey, how you got here, and then context on why are we sitting in this booth? Why is this here?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I am, as many people are here, a hobbyist. So got into FPV a long time ago, racing drones, and I liked building drones as well. And it was costly as a college student. And so I looked at a career that would allow me to continue to build drones and develop that hobby in a more professional manner. And the test site was growing. AX Enterprise was doing some government contracting with software, which was my background, as well as with aircraft. And so that led me to join the company about 10 years ago. And I've been working there for 10 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
A few years ago, AX Enterprise, the company I work for, took over the day-to-day operations of the New York UAS test site. And so I moved up to Rome, and we operate out of the airport now, conducting some of our government contracts at AX Enterprise at the test site, as well as managing customer operations. So doing some research projects and bringing in customers that want to test primarily aircraft that are bigger than 55 pounds, above 400 feet.
Okay, right. Because I was going to ask, if you have any more context on why why UAS test sites? Why are they necessary? What's the use case? And then where is it going? Where do you guys see test sites playing a role as things develop, which they are quite rapidly, on how high you can fly, how far you can fly. There's so much going on in drone technology, obviously.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
As a actually quick example, we had a agriculture group that we work with Echodyne radars, and they're moving towards our bigger radar now because they're like, very soon we're going to like double or triple our range with whatever the hybrid, all these batteries, everywhere that it's going. They're saying the next gen is going to go 6 or 7 miles as opposed to like 2 or 3 miles. And suddenly, because technology is moving so quickly, it's the cost per acre for the actual drone,
for the hardware,
for the radars, for every component. All of a sudden, cuts in half.
Yeah.
And suddenly, it's affordable, and the business case is there. So anyway, just like something I picked up just yesterday at the booth. But what are some of your thoughts? Why a test range? What's coming next down the pipe?
Yeah, absolutely. So test ranges are valuable, in my opinion, because it allows a customer that might have limited resources to experiment with where their company can go or where their aircraft can go without having to expend considerable resources themselves. So the test sites often have expedited access to waivers, to approvals, and to direct FAA support. So depending on that novel aircraft that a company might be developing, if they want to do something that they can't do at their home base, and we're really looking at operations that are group 3 or 4 drones that might be above 55 pounds, that's a little bit harder for them to do at home if they're a smaller company.
Or even Whisk over here.
Yep.
We just got to do a little tour of their
Exactly. That's
airplane.
A large aircraft. Getting a COA for that at a random home base might be difficult. In a city, maybe because of population, some of the risks of initial transition flights, for example. We have COAs existing and a facility, the 12,000-foot runway, where we can bring in those aircraft, conduct some of those tests in a rapid iterating environment, and produce immediate results that are actionable for them. So it's a way for
speed
for
to
customers
market, speed to testing.
And the New York test site particularly, we have generally like a 4-week lead time for testing. So instead of planning months or years in advance, you can schedule with us, provide some documentation, work on the safety, and then come on site and fly in a very fast time frame.
So really then it's speed to iteration as well, because these are often untested airfoil shapes and new aircraft that need lots of flight time, documented, that's safe, that they could submit data to the FAA consistently, essentially, right, to get approved. So where can they fly? They need to be able to have, it's a conundrum. It's like, you have to show that you've flown many times, but you're not allowed to fly.
The chicken before the egg.
Anywhere, except
so we have, you could call it an incubator, you could say, where if the FAA wants to know that you can fly safely, we actually have an indoor flight environment as well. It's called Skydome. So it's a 1 million cubic foot area. It's built inside an old B-52 hangar, and it's 150 by 150 by 50 feet tall. And it's a netted, shielded anechoic chamber that allows people to come in with an aircraft that they maybe have never flown before, and do their maiden flight, do their initial tuning in that completely controlled environment. That can be before they have an N number, before they've registered the aircraft, before they have all the kinks worked out. It's a secured, safe environment.
Because you're technically not in the national airspace.
Non-navigable airspace. And as part of being outside of that airspace, you also have no FAA rules. So you can fly swarms, you can fly one-to-many, you can fly challenging aircraft that might mitigate other systems. Being a shielded environment, it also has Faraday properties and anechoic material. So you can do a whole wide variety of RF testing. It's a quiet environment, but it can also be loud inside and not transmit that sound outside. So it's a unique environment that actually transitions onto the airfield with a netted area. So you can go from that GPS denied internal environment to a netted environment, still non-navigable airspace. And then once you've done that crawl and walk portion, we have a large area where you can hover transition, you can go to fixed wing flight, and airspace extending up to 60,000 feet.
Wow. Okay, so do you have, of what you can share, 2 or 3 examples of really interesting projects or interesting things you've seen people do?
There was a company called Liquid Piston that had some DoD contracts to develop a novel aircraft with a rotary engine, a hybrid combustion that generated energy on board. It's about a 300-pound quad plane, so a big VTOL aircraft. And they had not done very much tuning. They'd not done very much testing of it. They were having trouble finding a safe way to test it. They didn't even have it registered at first. And so we were able to bring them into the Skydome chamber, exercise that chamber to do some RF properties of the aircraft, do some hover flights of the aircraft.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And now they're working towards doing that quad plane transition
Wow.
and,
Okay.
and really going from the crawl, walk to the run.
Nice.
We've also had customers come in. Aurora Flight Sciences has their Diamond DA-42. So an aircraft that's a certified aircraft, they added a system of actuators and controls to manipulate the pilot controls in the aircraft. And they've been able, through a number of different tests that they've held at Griffiths, to perform autonomous, completely uncrewed flights, optionally crewed flights, as well as a variety of very unique air traffic control communication flights. So
Wow.
if you are in a lost comm situation, coming in for an
Okay.
automated landing, and the tower says go around, you need a synthesizer on board to
wow.
interpret
Okay.
that radio traffic and make that actionable controls for the autopilot. So they've tested autonomous communication with the air traffic
Nice.
control that we have on site, as well as some very sophisticated autonomous landing and taxi systems.
And it probably doesn't all work perfectly the first time.
That's why we're a test site. That's why the test
right?
sites exist.
And then change some code, add a more powerful sensor or whatever. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Well, last but not least, how can people reach you if they have interest in partnering with the range?
NewYorkUASTestSite.com is the website. It's owned and operated by Oneida County, the local upstate New York county. And the test site is really, it has a large online presence. Find us on LinkedIn or YouTube at the website and get in touch. And probably myself or one of my team members would be happy to learn.
Come on. All right, Zevi. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming and talking.
It's got like a little back to it. Look at
Enjoy
that.
the rest of the show.
You too. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thanks again.
Take care.
All right. You want to snag this real quick so I can chat with you and see me the time too as we're going. But all right. Well, that was fun, ladies and gentlemen. Again, hopefully this is streaming in okay. And if not, and you've all bounced already, then we'll upload the recording a little bit later. It'll be
I
fun.
did check. We got some comments.
Oh,
I
okay.
covered like Abby Smith's comment or her insights, and
Yeah.
Zev was chatting with us as well, so getting some hype.
Let's go,
For the
Zev.
show.
Thanks for the partnership, buddy. Go check out his TAC weekly live show too. We're kind of running in parallel on that. That's great. Let's see what we've got hovering around here. We're taking you guys down a couple aisles, and we are actually going to dive in with the University of Maryland here next. How are we doing on time? What are we looking at? All right, we are right on the dot, ladies and gentlemen. At 12:30 Central Time, we're supposed to jump in with UMD, and they're doing some amazing projects right now. About to roll out test range. Ultimately, they're going to be doing medical delivery using a drone from basically over to Smith Island, is what it's called, and it's right in that Chesapeake Bay and the Maryland side up north. And they have challenges of getting medical devices out there instantly, because if it's choppy water, bad weather, whatever the case, and they have to take a boat, whoever lives there, to the mainland if there's some sort of medical emergency, they're going to be able to deliver by drone and deconflict the airspace and work on that, advanced air mobility application for you. So with that said, I think we're getting pretty close to, oh, there's Maryland. Let's see. You can see that, I don't know if you can see it, that little booth, but look at Spain's here. Lots of countries actually, but, oh, let's see. We'll walk here. I'm going to cut through these guys. Sorry. But hopefully you guys are enjoying. I like this format. I think it's more interesting bringing people straight in. Why don't I keep chatting? You go just make sure they're cool. They're ready to go right there, these guys. Just go, before we pull them onto the live stream, I'll have Josh go chit chat with them, make sure that they're ready to go. Yeah. You mind jumping on live? A little live podcast. You guys cool with that? I got a little mic for you.
Yeah.
Or Ben, I mean, feel free if we can, I can hold it for you. But yeah, or yeah, if you want to be on it too, I'd love to hear from you. But okay,
we might
cool.
want to move
Okay.
over there 'cause it's,
Yeah, basically, we're hitting a couple friends. Well, first of all, we got to go through like the Whisk eVTOL, pretty neat electric vertical landing takeoff and landing device, and just like letting people out there on LinkedIn get a feet on the ground here at the conference who couldn't make it. And so I wanted to highlight, what UMD is doing in terms of advanced air mobility. I mean, any comments you want to make? If you could speak to the Smith Island things, or whatever your able to share, just to kind of give people a scope of who you are as UMD and what types of projects you're working on?
So so how long is it going to be? And
Oh, what we're chatting about? Oh, just a couple minutes,
okay,
5
so
minutes.
talking about what we do at UMD.
Yeah,
at
totally.
US.
Yeah, just to highlight you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the UAS Research and Operations Center, we're part of the Aerospace Engineering Department
Yeah.
at the University of Maryland. That's part of the Clark School. We're not at College Park. We are actually down at the St. Mary's County Airport, 2 Whiskey 6 in
Okay.
Southern Maryland. Yeah, yeah. And so we really have three major thrusts that we do. We help researchers at the university to get their projects, their research up into the air. That's fundamentally what we do. Much of the cutting edge research we're associated with right now is around multi-agent intelligence systems. So we're taking small groups of drones, oftentimes our custom family of drones, a lot of edge computing, mesh networks, in order to work together to recognize things that they're looking for in the environment that they've been trained to look for. And once they think they see them, to take actions based on that, ultimately leading to commands to the flight controllers. So that's really pretty leading edge stuff. We're working with Army Research Lab.
Can I ask you about that real quick? Yeah, is that,
Yeah.
So if off the top of my head, would it be like search and rescue mission? You're sending 4 drones out to sweep a certain area, but they're all looking for like heat or something, and then or maybe someone stuck in the water that needs to a device dropped to them, a float device, and so you can maybe use like a swarm of drones intelligently and be like mapping it, and then as soon as they see it, send another drone autonomously to drop. Or I don't know, I'm kind of making up a scenario, but
well, I'll give you an
us an
example of one of them. We have several of these projects, but one that's pretty illustrative is a DARPA triage challenge. Okay, so DARPA does their challenges on a regular basis, hard problems. So the University of Maryland Robotics Center is leading this charge for us, along with the University of Maryland in Baltimore, the medical school and the medical organization.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing here is mass casualty response. So we have aerial drones that the UROC designed and builds and operates that would be launched at the site of a mass casualty event. Meanwhile, spot robots are heading out as well. So the aerial drones
on the ground. You're
on the
talking,
ground,
like dogs almost, or whatever
exactly,
runs out.
the
No
spot
way.
dogs,
Okay.
right? So basically, the aerial drones go out, survey the scene, locate victims. Are they alive? Are they dead? And then communicate with the spots to send them over. They've got more advanced sensors to understand the health of the victim. Okay,
Really?
Are all the limbs there? Are they breathing? Is their blood still circulating?
Wow.
They have a chat bot on so they can converse with the
That's
victims.
futuristic stuff, actually.
And so the idea here is to decide where should the medics go first at this mass casualty scene.
Okay.
So, we're very early days on this kind of research. So we're doing several projects of this kind of multi-agent work where there's a lot of edge computing going on. There are mesh networks involved, and humans are off the loop just watching what happens.
Wow. Okay.
So really cool stuff.
That's great. Do you mind introducing just kind of who you are, what your role is there, if people want to connect with the university or just.
So I'm John Slaughter. I'm the director of the UAS Research and Operations Center. We've got a team of about 11, including myself. So another one over here, Ben Griffith, is one of our project managers. Alex Burke is one of our operators. We have 4 engineers. Each of them kind of specialized. We have a UAS software engineer. We've got one that kind of works between the software running on the processors and the drone.
Ooh, okay.
And we've got a guy that's really good at developing the actual drone itself and making all the pieces.
And you're talking this, like, can you get a shot of that? That's pretty neat. Is that one of your custom?
It is. That was designed and built at the at the UROC. Exactly.
Okay.
And so inside there, that what the intent there was, these projects. We started out using off-the-shelf equipment. We found that oftentimes, because of the proprietary nature of software running on most of the commercial drones out there, we just needed an open platform.
Okay.
And so this is completely open source. It's all built from components either that are 3D printed or bought online, and you can build it in various levels of complexity and cost.
Is that a heart on the side of it? Is it like an EKG device
That is
delivery? Or?
so
Can you see that, or?
that is the DTC. That's the DARPA Triage Challenge aircraft.
Oh, okay.
That is the Robo Scout is the name of our team.
Yeah.
This is the first iteration. We have a new iteration of this that has a now a gimbaled sensor suite, including not only RGB but also EO, an IR platform.
Okay.
I mean, and also a laser rangefinder to help with that finding.
Is that what the heart? Okay, that's about. I see it. That's basically the logo.
That's the logo for
demonstrating
DARPA Triage.
triage. Oh, I see. Okay, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to speak at all, or can you speak to the Smith Island concept on drone delivery, medical delivery? Like, what is that?
So, so that stuff I just described is really kind of cutting edge research.
Yeah.
Now we're also looking at applications of drones in the national airspace. So Maryland has a lot of rural communities that have all kinds of health issues, and that's common with rural communities everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease are much higher in rural communities than they are in urban environments. And a lot of those times, those problems are related to transportation challenges that those residents have. They can't get to the pharmacy to get their meds. They don't take their meds. They wind up in the hospital. And that not only has bad health outcomes for them personally, it drives costs up for everybody. So we're exploring the use of drones to help close some transportation gaps, including a really unique one that we have in Maryland with Smith Island. It's the only populated island in Maryland. About 200 folks live out there. It's in the Chesapeake Bay. Their only connection with the mainland is by a daily ferry. So, you know, getting your pharmacy supplies, that kind of thing can be pretty time consuming. And in the winter, it can take days when the bay freezes or when the weather's up and the wind's up. So drones are an obvious solution for some of this.
Wow. I didn't think about, like it's not just like EKG device or Narcan or whatever, to like immediately try to save a life, but also, like you said, I mean, like think of, people with health issues at home, just in a normal setting, in an urban setting where they still need to be able to like drive or use the Lyft app or Uber app or something. And that can be challenging to help them to get from A to B. So that, how much more so in this scenario, if they're just like on an island and they have to wait 4 days just to take the ferry to, who's going to, a lot of people are just going to skip, their medication and whatnot.
Yeah, and oftentimes the transportation challenge is literally just that. They don't have the vehicle. The public transportation doesn't exist in these communities. Wow. And so getting to their meds, they got to have help to get their meds. So those are, really improving health outcomes in the long term, as opposed to the immediate critical care, like using a drone to deliver an AED or to get Narcan or an EpiPen where it needs to be in an emergency.
And that might be like 911 dispatch with drone as first responder.
Exactly so.
That's probably more what they're focused on. It's like this person's dying right now and they're, 2 miles from your facility, zip the drone out. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things to think about too in these urban versus rural communities that, drone delivery is coming. We all know that, right? You got Wing, you got Zipline, you got Amazon, you got others that are all ready to scale up when 108 hits. And that's going to be great, but they need to be doing lots and lots and lots of deliveries over a short period of time to make their money. Rural communities aren't going to make the map, right? That's not going to be a profitable market.
Okay.
So how are we going to move this kind of great technology that'll be available in the urban and suburban cores? How are we going to make that available to our citizens in rural communities as part of this study as well?
Okay. Good. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing, John. Yeah. It's always a pleasure. Cool. And I love it. And if you guys want to look up UMD, what they're doing, get a hold of John, especially if you want to join the university, partner with the university. If you're a student and you're thinking of attending, or being an intern or joining the team that you mentioned that has multiple engineers and interns and pilots and whatnot, then feel free to reach out.
Yeah, we're all about doing good with drones, and want people to understand that that's really what they're for, They're not there to spy on them.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that's just education, which is what we're doing here, right? And actually, just a small note, my 5-year-old son is getting super into drones just because I go to these conferences and all my videos have drones in them because the radar is like detecting drones. So all he sees is drones. So he's like pumped about it. So he's on his 3rd drone. I mean, they're real small, whatever, but this one's pretty neat because it comes in pieces and we like build it together and then he can program it to go up and over and down and he's really pumped. But it's kind of fun to think about how important these programs are, right? Like we're gonna go somewhere in the corner over here. There's students and people flying drones right now, right?
Right.
That's not these guys, right? Or is it?
No, they're over
No.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'll go take a look. But I'm just thinking about my 5-year-old
Yeah.
in however many years he can join that, and then maybe in 10, whatever, 13 years he can join
Well,
the.
this tech's
you know.
going to be everywhere when he grows up.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for what you're doing.
Yep.
Appreciate you letting us stop by and chat. So
All right, man.
we'll see you soon.
Take care.
All right. Take care. All righty. How are we doing on tiempo? Oops. All right. Oh, we are square on time. We are going to take you guys to the back corner and see some of the students, what they're doing. There's like college students and, you know, like younger kids flying drones. They got a whole setup for it, and net and everything. And it's pretty exciting. And as I mentioned, my son is getting super into it himself. Man, oh, we got the robot dogs going on. Those are fun. I am looking for one last stop. And there it is. Voila. You see that way up there? The New Air booth. Gonna stop by and see if my good friend Andrew Carter or someone from this team from Resilience wants to jump in and say hi. Looks like they are deep in conversation right now, which is excellent. Amazing booth here. Actually, you can see it behind me if you want to get a little scope of it. But figured it'd be really interesting to bring you guys in, feet on the ground, to a second UAS test site. I like looking at not just technology, but application of the technology, what it's able to do. And so let me see. I don't know if we can. Here, you want to chit chat for a second, and I'll go talk to Carter for a second. Make sure we can sneak in there. Oops. Nope. What are you learning from the conference, Josh? Anything you want to tell people?
Yeah, we're getting to see a lot of really unique applications of drones. See, there's a lot of universities, Texas, Virginia is represented here, as well as Ohio. So it's interesting to learn that Ohio is actually really developing their drone sector. And you can see over here we have Oregon, it's kind of back off in the corner, you might well see it, as well as Maryland. But yeah, it just seems like the whole country is starting to engage with just the need for drones. There you go.
Right. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. I will throw this back on for you guys so you can hear me. You want to just hold that kind of like under your chin? Or I can snap it to you. Just hold it right there. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for joining. Carter.
Absolutely.
We're live with This Week in Drones and happen to be here at Xponential 2025 on the floor. Wanted to stop by and say hi to a couple good friends and highlight what you're doing with Resilience. I guess, introduce yourself, share about what you do, but I'd love to give people an idea of what's new, what's fresh, where is this industry going?
Yeah.
A couple pieces of insight from those who especially couldn't attend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
Resilience does digital infrastructure for advanced air mobility. I think we started with in-time aviation safety management systems, and we've kind of gone up the chain to putting a lot of different pieces of technology together, really trying to build out an aviation-grade digital infrastructure. And so this show has been really exciting because last year for this show, we had just won a very large contract with the Air Force and NASA co-funding it to build this system out. And so we did a demo last year of what it was going to look like when it was done. This year, we're actually announcing customers on it. We're giving demos of a live system up and running in a live feed.
Check that.
So we have a live air picture coming in from Syracuse, New York. We're running some simulations on it to showcase what it can all do. And so it's been really exciting to show the transition from, here's a plan, right? We want a contract to there's a product in the market actually being used.
Yeah.
We just won a big contract in Tulsa to put this in Tulsa. There's some more press coming out next week about a hospital network that's going to be using it.
So then for those who have no clue, what is it? What is it that you're deploying?
Yeah,
Why is it important to the drone industry to digital conspicuity and all this stuff?
Sure. So what we looked at was what are all the pieces of technology or the functionality that you needed to set up a beyond visual line of sight ecosystem.
Got it.
And so everywhere that we were working across the country, everybody needed a common air picture, a common weather picture, data fusion, cybersecurity, safety assurance, traffic management, and a way to exchange data through all of those pieces. And so we said, okay, if that is a core digital infrastructure, of course there's going to be other things that you need to layer on there. You might have fleet management, your ground control stations, the drones themselves. There's other piece parts, but this core can be pretty much the same everywhere you go for almost any application that you're dealing with.
Okay.
So that's really what we looked at is how do we put that all together? How do we go out and source technology? We did an aviation grade systems engineering program. So we have over 1,400 requirements for the overall platform, traced all the way through requirements, through safety and hazard assessments, through regulations, down to our system test. So we can point to exactly what it is and prove that it does what we said it does.
Wow. Okay. And something we've talked about in the past is you guys started out with what I might call like health monitoring. Essentially, if I think of like a network example, then you could connect to your core product in the past. I think was connecting to all these different devices in the ecosystem, including radars, including a remote ID sensor, whatever's on weather sensors, and actually knowing for a fact that they're running and that they're, as you mentioned, providing the data that they said they were going to provide real time. Kind of like uptime at a data center. You're
exactly
providing that only for this.
Yeah. So when we look at this network that you start to build out, and it gets fairly, it's a system of systems engineering, right? You're going to have a lot of sensors. You're going to have drones. You're going to have digital infrastructure. You're going to have weather infrastructure. You get this fairly robust and fairly complex system of systems. And so the FAA likes to know how do you know it's all working correctly, and what do you do when it stops?
Like it looks pretty and there's nothing going on, but how do you know it's not because the system's down at the moment?
Is the radar on fire or is nobody flying over there, right? Like I'd like to know which one it is when if I'm going to plan a drone flight.
Yeah.
So we really tried to say, okay, if we can answer those two questions for the FAA, then we can kind of build that as a foundation as we add layers and complexities onto the system.
And then what I think is really inspiring, from an entrepreneurial perspective, is just to say, you guys were at that layer of just connecting to every device, checking on its functionality, on its uptime and whatnot. But then you got to know, and this is me kind of brainstorming, but it's like that gave you the insight into the industry over the last number of years to know how all the devices work, how, what the specifications are down to the nth degree, probably better than anybody else across all of those ecosystems, devices, right? And then why not? It makes so much sense to then, mature into saying, well, why don't we just project manage and let someone else, let the FAA and others know these are the systems that actually work. And we've proved it. We have the literal data. And so that's awesome to see you guys evolving in that.
Yeah, I think when we started, again, from an entrepreneurial perspective, we found a niche that we didn't really see anybody else in, and we knew it was needed. When we built the Army ground-based sense and avoid system, about 25% of the final system was actually dedicated to understanding how do you know everything's working correctly and what do you do when something goes wrong. All the health, integrity, performance, monitoring, and any kind of mitigations that happen. And so we said if that 25% isn't being addressed commercially, that's an opportunity.
Nice.
Now, the opportunity was further off than we had wanted when we first started, right? It took years and years for that to come to a place where the industry was ready for it.
Okay.
But once we got to that point, we had a very mature product ready to go for the industry. And we said, okay, if we have all this information, we have all this data, and we know how things are working, what else can we build on? What else can we do with it?
Okay.
So that's kind of how we've thrown into almost a system integrator at this point of how do we put all these ecosystems together.
Which is inspiring. I think it's helpful for folks listening who are looking for those avenues of how to partner, how they can connect. I mean, how can they reach you if someone out there is like, I have an idea, I have a sensor, I have a product that might fit what you're doing.
So,
and I'll tag you and stuff.
My email address is Carter, my last name, at resilience, the name of the company with an X.com. Resilience.com, the website. Check it out.
I'll tag you so they can find you on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
But do you have any thoughts on just anyone out there? I want to bring as much value as possible as people are thinking, brainstorming with their own technology that hopefully complements what you're doing. But, just thoughts, like, do you see another gap right now in the industry? What would be like the biggest gap if someone could solve that darn piece? It would accelerate us,
So I think a lot of the gaps that we see now are use case specific. So, when you have kind of a generic base, it's like, okay, how do I actually implement a use case based on this? Whether that's medical delivery, right, has some interesting gaps where they don't want to walk the drugs to the drone and put it on. And they're looking at, there's already robots in the hospital. Can they can they go and load the drone automatically?
Why don't they want to do that? Manpower?
It's somebody's in a lab in the basement and the drone's landing on the roof and it's a person that's taking an elevator up. It just
Imagine like a bank and how they went to those suction
Yeah,
devices to get it from here to there.
Exactly,
Like,
right? It's just like if this person's spending all their time riding this elevator up and down 18 stories, they're not doing their job, right? And so it's like every niche or every use case has like those pain points that still exist.
Interesting.
There's an
Almost
interesting
like first and last mile, door to door. It's kind of like how Lyft and Uber were talking about it.
Yeah.
They solved that gap, get you from the door to the bus to the airport to the thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of that.
There's a company, I think it's out of Sweden, that actually they put a window mounted drone, so the drone can land on the window of the lab instead of on the
Suction to the
roof.
window or like.
Yeah, it lands kind of vertically so that people can just reach out their window and load the drone to solve this exact problem. So there's like different ways that the people are looking at it. But again, this is just an example of like, okay, I can deliver my medical stuff from point A to point B, but like that's not all the friction, right? So I think lots and lots of industries still have those friction points that exist, and there's probably still a lot of innovative ways to really solve and scale those.
And to find those by asking good questions and being curious is probably necessary for someone who has this brilliant idea but doesn't realize there's this other friction point that may be hindering someone from buying into it.
Yeah,
right?
And I think a lot of what we've seen is a lot of earned insight, right? It's hard to not understand the industry you're selling into and come up with innovative things that you think they might want.
Okay.
Right. So if you understand an industry and you can say, hey, I know that there's friction here. I see that this problem is coming. There's a lot of this earned insight that you can then go and you preemptively solve it, or at least go do the research and say, hey, is this something you'd pay me for?
All right. Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'll snag that so I can shake your hand. But
good stuff.
Appreciate you, and we'll definitely be seeing you around, man.
Good deal.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the show.
Thanks. See you soon. All right. You want to snag that, and we'll chat. You got the time. And that was our last official stop, you guys. Hopefully that was insightful. I think there's some really good comments. Here's DJ Smith. I wonder if you want to go ask him if he'd want to jump on before I throw him on live just for a quick comment. And Chris Sadler as well. Yeah, and we're just floating around talking to some people. You want to just say hi? We got like a minute or two left. I got this little mic, but here with an amazing friend of the podcast, DJ Smith. Virginia State Police. He does a lot with obviously the drone, and you guys all know him. But DJ, how are you doing?
Doing great, sir. Glad to be here. It's been a great show. We see some pretty cool tech and had some amazing conversations as usual. So that's what it's all about, that networking event for us, drone responders, and kind of connecting people with vendors and talking about policy and what we can do to improve the public safety drone operations.
Big time. Anything stand out to you that was like, I don't know, a big leap in where we're going as an industry here, or a big gap that you're noticing that people out there could be kind of brainstorming to close?
No real big gaps. I think we're all still waiting for legislative carve-outs when it comes to drone usage as well, as well as in the counter-UAS space. Counter-UAS right now is kind of that area I'm spending most of my time in.
Sure.
We need the ability to fly more, but we also need to be able to have granularity into the airspace to know what we're seeing. Be able to track that through our airspace safely and equitably so that we don't have any problems.
And how's drone responders going? Like, so you guys always have these parallel events with this one, the commercial UAV coming out. I know Jason Day's involved. It's pretty fun to kind of track with you guys. But
on the heels of Dusseldorf as well, Chris Todd and the guys went over for that. I didn't make that trip, but very, very good trip over there. They were able to learn some things, see some things, and but again, for us in the public safety sector, it's network. How do we keep that voice alive? Because we, in the public safety community, we're a very small niche group, but we all talk, we share stories, we share policy, and it's what makes each one of us better. And now we're kind of incorporating that critical infrastructure group in the group as well. So because when they win, we win. So when they can fly further and longer, we can fly further and longer. Because they help us prove out those concepts. They can be done safely and equitably in the airspace.
Right on, man. Well, I just want to stop by and say hi.
Hey, we're walking through to check out some last final boosts. Hope everybody's having a great day. God bless you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Appreciate it.
Talk to you guys.
How do you see baby?
All good. All right. Well, this has been fun. Actually, surprising that people are willing to jump on last second. Tried that at other conferences and didn't always go down so well. I guess once you make enough friends and they recognize you, that helps a little bit. But we are on our way to see in this far corner. Before we do that, you got to see this robot dog going on. These things are wild. I don't know if you can zoom on that. Oh, you kind of can. It's a little funky, but look at that thing. moving around, doing its thing. Oh, and so that's like an example of what John Slaughter mentioned from UMD. He was saying that they fly multiple drones to search and rescue, to triage some sort of like mass casualty event, and then they send the dogs out when they see that's a person, they're on the ground, they're still alive, send a dog in there with more technology. That's pretty cool. What do you think of that, Josh? I mean, that was...
Yeah, I mean, it's the future. Having, it's a lot. It's not just cost of money-wise, but cost of lives. I mean, anything you can do to save a life. And if you could send a robot dog into a burning building to save somebody versus sending a person who then might need another person to go in and save them, it just really changes the game.
Yeah,
it makes us all a lot safer.
Also, you're going to be seeing a lot more of Josh on the pod, and we've got some other announcements coming and some, I guess I won't say too much more, but exciting times. Good time to get involved. Okay, look, we got student drone competition, I think. I don't know if you can see that. Not really. There's a sign way up there. I'm going to go check that out and see what they're doing. Do you want to just scope out, since they're students, if they're cool, with us coming by? Just going to chat with them real quick. Oh, yeah, I'll go talk to them. There you go. All good, guys. Give us a second. Josh, maybe give some commentary on what you're seeing.
Yeah, and something else that's been really insightful for this conference is just how technology is changing. They're really implementing some innovative new, like American-made drone parts, and it seems like there's a real push. We saw Bobby talking earlier about how there's really working to make the United States a drone manufacturing hub and all the things that go into that. So it's been inspiring seeing that, and how there's just all these people in the United States trying to make us the next big manufacturer of drones, especially around public safety. You're seeing we spoke with DJ earlier, just how much public safety has been implementing drones, and you're starting to see that just in a variety of fields, whether it be law enforcement or fire. I was speaking with my cousin's husband not too long ago, and he's a firefighter. And they've actually started implementing drones for fire, so they can actually fly over the fire and see where the heat's coming from, and that way they can direct their water cannons to fight the fire more effectively. So just all across the spectrum, you're seeing drones being used innovatively. And you can see, it's like David said, we're outside of this youth kind of competition. We can't quite show you yet just because there's a lot of kids there. We're trying to figure out if we can show you or not. But it's just cool seeing how they're really preparing the next generation to be, like they say, like digital natives. We'll have this next generation will be drone natives, where they can, really be able to fly drones intuitively. So hopefully here we can bring you in here. And while David's talking with them, we can come over and see some more booths. So it's interesting seeing some of the nations represented here. We'd mentioned earlier about some of the states, but there's a booth here for a bunch of companies from Taiwan. We also have Korea, Japan, Germany. I saw some booths from Israel and Turkey. So just really this has drawn an international crowd. I was watching a talk earlier from a lady from Korea, how they've been really trying to innovate. There are drones for using critical infrastructure, repairing downed lines and things like that. So it seems not just here in the United States, but all over the world, they're using drones to make people safer. Here's David.
All right, right on, ladies and gentlemen. We got permission to go back there. There's students. They've all signed waivers. So I wanted to end with a window into the future. Obviously, with the drone industry taking off the way it is, it's incredibly important to invest in the next generation. We're talking workforce development. This is all like drone competitions. And if you want to show any of the, some of that, but also like what you see on the side here, a lot of cool displays from kids, schools, looks like high school, middle school, and looking forward to even my son that I mentioned earlier. He's 5 years old. I'm sure this is going to be the world that he's going to want to play in here pretty soon. How you doing, sir? Oh, neat. Okay, 5 minutes. Oh, interesting. Do you want to see some of these little drones over here? So you got a competition that they're running. A lot going on in here.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday.
You see the guy on his FPV goggles. I don't know if you can see that, but racing drones. It's probably hard to perceive a lot of it on the camera, but it's pretty fun, pretty exciting.
This is what professional racing
We're
looks
going to
like.
try to talk to someone here as part of the event. Would you mind? You want to say a word or two, or is this okay time? Just because Tad, you want to? You just hold this like just kind of under your chin and like that.
That work?
Right there. Perfect. But yeah, David Lewin this week in drones. Got a whole audience live out there. A lot of them are drone enthusiasts, but also like law enforcement agencies that use drones for first responder.
Sure.
Critical infrastructure that use them for inspections. It's kind of like a whole mix of people that are just trying to integrate drones into the national airspace in general.
Right.
And so we really wanted to come see the students, what they're doing, and hear about obviously workforce development, everything that is going into how the drone industry is advancing. So, feel free to just introduce yourself, what you guys do, any comments you want to make.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, my name is Tad Dowse. I'm with Drones in School. We're part of a nonprofit organization called Edu Everything that does STEM work with students, and our Drones in School is our kind of our drone program. So what the students do is you'll see they do a capture the flag. I don't know if you can see it over there, where they have to kind of hover over beacons and change colors. There's 2 drones on each team, and it's a line of sight competition.
Okay. You want to just get closer to it while he's talking?
That's what they do there. They're just kind of practicing right now. The beacons light up when the drone goes over top, and so it's this who can do it the fastest. And then over here we have our traditional head-to-head racing. So you'll see that as if you ever followed drone racing, we have 2 drones, 1 versus 1. They fly around, do as many laps as they can, as fast as they can, and then whoever wins that race. The other thing that makes our program a little unique is we do focus on that workforce development piece you mentioned. So these students are not just racing drones, they're actually starting a drone racing company. And so they actually go through the idea of creating a company from scratch. They have to create logos, they have to create branding, they do marketing videos, they get sponsors. And then all the drones, you can see these here, they actually have to carry a payload. This year it happens to be a ping pong ball. So we give every team a ping pong ball, then they've got to design something for their drone. Now this would be like example of a middle school team. They make an attachment for their drone. So there's a stock Emax drone, and then they 3D printed and designed this payload carrier. It has a rubber band that'll hold it in place. For the high school teams, they actually have to manufacture their entire drone. So they get the components. They can either take an Emax drone apart, or they can start from scratch. And so this team, they actually engineered and designed this entire thing.
I think that if it can perceive it, and show maybe the top.
So they've got these legs they designed to hold the ping pong ball so it can land. And then they've also, it's all 3D printed. So they go through the entire design process from start to finish. So it's not just a kind of buy it and fly it competition. Thank you. It's also teaching you to see all the different designs. If you kind of scan down the different designs, different ideas on how to carry that payload that the different teams have had.
Super cool.
And then all that gets evaluated. They create a team display over there. You can see those. If you kind of pan that way, you can see all the team displays.
We walked by a couple of those already, So
those team displays then kind of showcase all that work, their project management, their marketing.
At least one of them, Josh, just to kind of see like.
So you can see this one here. This is really cool. This Belmont Hill team, right here. There they are. So they not only.
You guys want to jump on a live podcast? Or?
They're always game, right? Okay. Jump in. They had not only just did all this design work, created their drones, but they actually injection molded. So why don't you talk about the injection molding?
Go for it.
Yeah. Just hold that kind of under your chin there.
Well, the injection molding process was new for us this year. As you can see, we got the injection molding machine out in the fall, and then over the course of time, we've had trial and error. So we've had some failed attempts based on like the pressure not working, pressure too high, pressure too low, and eventually we came to a model that did work, and we now have these little bumpers that hold the drone together, which is really fortunate because it's a strong material, and it just helps our drone in the competition.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the injection molding process has been really cool for us to experience. The way it works is basically in Fusion 360, which is a 3D modeling software, a computer-aided design. We get the negatives of all the models that we want to have injection molded, and so that's what gives us these molds that you can see here. And once we have the models, we resin print them, because SLA printing means there's no layer lines, and it's also incredibly precise. So that allows us to have just like really great molds to use. once we do that, we use our injection molding machine. We've experimented with a couple different materials. The one we settled on was called high density polyethylene. And so you can see here, we have recorded all the materials we use, the pressure, the temperature, the conditions, everything, because we really have just been trying to narrow everything down and figure out settings that work amazingly. So yeah, we're really grateful to kind of have the resources to experiment with this new way of manufacturing, and it's been a really cool experience.
Do you have any comments? You're in high school. Any thoughts on, the future, what you're dreaming about? If this has inspired you towards a certain path, or I mean, it's not like you have to have your whole life figured out today, but is it like kind of sparked, a certain path for you?
It's definitely sparked my interest in. This is going to sound kind of weird because these are drones and they fly in the sky, but autonomous submarines and underwater drones.
Okay.
It's just especially like walking around this expo, you see a lot of booths with like military applications, but then to me, the coolest booths that I see are ones with scientific applications and humanitarian applications. And so like underwater drones, it's like kind of the new frontier almost, where you go underwater and explore places that humans have never been. And so that's been for me. And
Hey, that's cool. Yeah. Love for you. Sure. That's pretty neat. That's inspiring.
Yeah, this is my first year on the drone team, so it was really cool just to be able to experience being with a team where the equipment is top notch, top gear, and I take away from this mostly the learning process. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, so from learning with people like Jai, it's been a really great experience to sort of open my mind towards this sort of frontier.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Well,
this is our instructor, Mr. Ziff.
Okay. You want to be on a live podcast video? Grab that mic. Just love to hear. It's called This Week in Drones. It's a lot of professionals out there that are doing inspections with drones and law enforcement, 911 dispatch with drones, like all kinds of stuff to integrate drones into the national airspace. But we've been told 3-4 times, you got to go back and see what the students are doing, and obviously there's early workforce development elements, there's all kinds of stuff, but I mean, I guess just share who you are and why you're doing this.
Sure, thanks. So I am Matthew Ziff. I'm the director of Makerspace at the Belmont Hill School, just outside of Boston in Belmont, Massachusetts. We've been so fortunate to be a part of the drone school organization. EDU Everything Tad run an amazing competition here. Absolutely love it. This is what, our 4th year here.
You've been here every year.
We've been here every year, and as a drone hobbyist myself, getting to be able to show my students this stuff on a daily basis and getting them to be exposed to these things and
early,
exploring all of these different technologies. I know they talked about the injection molding and all that. So we purchased an injection molding machine and a plastic recycling system to recycle all of our PLA and such scraps in-house. So we're taking a lot of our 3D printing scrap and support material, recycling in-house, making little trinkets and making our own filament out of that. And these guys came in and said, hey, that looks like something fun. Can we play with it? And
is that part of what this whole mold is about? Is reusing
so they're
scrap pieces to be able to then remold it, or what?
So we tested a few different materials. Okay. We ended up settling on for the applications here, the materials we were working with, the recycling PLA and such, is a little bit too brittle for a high impact situation. Okay. So we ended up going with different materials, but that sort of gave the interest or gave the ability for them to really
explore that path,
broaden their horizons, and sort of explore. And I come from an engineering background, material science and all that. So getting to teach them a little bit about material science and throwing these in that we wouldn't normally see on a daily basis gives them just more opportunities to explore more and more advanced technologies at a high school level to really set them up for whatever they can.
All right, thanks for what you do. And then maybe I'll pass it to you one more time and maybe let you share.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much. Just quick thought on how people can get involved, how they can find your
sure, certainly. Like I said, we're a nonprofit organization, so it's not about selling drone kits, but we have a website you can go to called dronesinschool.com. It's dronesinschool.com. And you can get involved. It's $150 to register a team. That gets you free access to our curriculum and also our virtual races and simulator races. And then maybe you'll make it to the national championship, and we'll see you next year in Detroit.
Come on. Well, thank you so much, Tad.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by.
I really appreciate it.
Really cool.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We'll talk
Take care.
to you. Do you have a card?
I do.
That way I can at least keep in touch with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything we can do if you want to interview any kids or whatever
Yeah.
in a future podcast, let me know.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, or maybe give me a heads up on anything upcoming if you
Yeah.
think highlighting on here would be helpful.
That'd be great. It'd be great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Where would we be able to see this?
Yeah, I mean, I can email it to you. It's on
Sure.
LinkedIn. If you just look my name up on LinkedIn, you'll see it as like, if you go into my channel and like
Sure.
my events that I posted, it's just going to be one of the, recorded ones. I mean, it's live, but it'll stay recorded. So you can always pop on there. Yeah, I mean, add me on LinkedIn. We'll connect. Oh, no, it's free.
Thank you.
Thanks. Josh, there you are. Hey, bud. All right, well, let's walk it back to the Echodyne booth where it all started, and we'll be signing off here fairly soon. No, not yet. Tell me about it real quick. You want to be on a live podcast? Because that's live.
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, tell me about it.
Hey, come over here. What we have here is
little microphone.
okay.
Yeah, you can hold it if you want.
What we have here. Yeah, this is advanced vertical robotics setup here. What we have is we have 3 different topics. We have it has a hurricane that's gone through the area. We are going to repair a railroad, repair a bridge, and we also have transformers knocked out. The kids are using autonomous vehicles to move the workers to the locations and bringing Connex boxes
No way.
to the broken parts with the workers to repair the broken pieces of the various structures. On the power lines, we have transformers that are out. They have thermal
Wow. Show that drone.
sensors on top of the power lines. The drone has to find which one is hot,
Oh, wow.
and then they have to find out which color Connex box through the April tags.
Okay.
And they bring the correct Connex box to the location with the worker, so they have the tools to repair the power lines.
Nice.
And they're
Wow.
GPS denied
Yeah. Oh,
autonomous vehicles that we're using for it.
So they have to pre-program some of it, and like,
So they program the rover. The rover is autonomous from
wow.
the place where the workers come out to the construction yard, where they get dispersed to the various tasks for the
This
repair.
is cool. Gives me some good ideas. I just got my 5-year-old son a little drone that you can build, and you have to like put it all together, and then you can pre-program it and stuff like that. So this,
So
but
this is taking like drone racing to the next level.
Yeah.
This is building the drone. Every year they get a set of problems to solve.
Yeah.
They come out and they compete.
It's like the Lego robotics competitions that
It is that
I've seen in the past. with,
And
like,
they
middle
learn
school
the code
and,
in Python, and then they
Oh,
get to
wow.
ROS, and all the way up through high school.
Right.
When they get out, they get into the workforce, and that's
Wow.
what this whole program
That
is
is
about.
cool.
So it's building our workforce for tomorrow.
Yeah. Is this related, or is it like the
Yes.
different?
They're all under one
Okay.
roof.
I got the car.
And
yeah.
basically, this is the AVR section, the Advanced Vertical Robotics section.
Okay, maybe.
And it's also drone blocks that actually builds the drones, or doesn't build them, but puts them together. The kids actually build the drones,
Okay.
put them all together, and then they
And then
code
they build
them.
like drop kits and things like that.
And they put the modular drop kits in, and then
Okay.
they that's the autonomous part. The kids
Yeah.
will program them.
Wow.
So they're actually flying them manually, but when they get over something and it gets triggered, that has to go through the autonomy that they've coded.
Okay.
So
I see.
there's more to it than
So they can
just-
fly, but then at a certain point, it has to go autonomous.
It has to go autonomous, yes,
Ah.
to trigger things.
Oh, that's
They
cool.
get more points for that.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Autonomous for points.
Awesome,
And we
John.
have, and we have spherical rovers, spherical balls for the workers. For the
Sometimes
workers, they're all little sphero balls.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So And the yeah, kids get the same kit, but
Uh-huh.
they all have to come up with their own means of how
Okay.
to pick up the Connex boxes
Right, okay.
and the various other
So
aspects that they have.
build different arms, and
Correct.
buckets, and whatever they come
3D
up with
printing
to
that
it.
they come up with, they design
Okay.
stuff in 3D print it.
That's cool. Right on,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Well,
Hey, thanks for coming by.
thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
We'll talk soon. I got your guys' card, so we'll look you up. Yeah, and actually, if you want to see this, it is you can find me on LinkedIn, and it's
Yes.
streaming live there.
I know you
So you can.
Very good.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
y'all take care. Traveling good
Yeah,
out.
thanks, you too. Well, look at this. Like I said, last show, people didn't want to stop and talk. This show,
Can't stop them.
yeah, like we can't even get back to home base to let you guys all go. Whoever still happens to be out there while we're live, thank you. Thanks for your support. We have a bit of a walk. See if we run into any other friends of the industry. Josh, any takeaways from what we've seen?
Yeah, it's just exciting seeing drones being used for good, and how the whole industry is really pushing for that positive use of drones. And even the student was saying that just how you can use it for good, and you go explore places that are unreachable by people, like deep in the ocean. And yeah, it's just exciting to see where the industry is going.
Absolutely. Looks like I missed a call from Zev Nadler just now, so hopefully that doesn't mean that we've been cut off, perhaps, as he was watching live, but we will see. Either way, we got to get back to the starting point to turn it off. So hopefully you guys are still around. Otherwise, we will see you next time on This Week in Drones, coming to you live every Thursday. Feel free to join the community. Go check out thisweekindrones.com, and you can register there for a recurring calendar invite that'll put this right on your Outlook calendar, your Gmail calendar, so that every week you can make sure that you don't miss one of the sessions. So, right on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'll give you a little scope. We got Germany, a booth. I saw also in the U.S. there was Oklahoma, Ohio, New York, who we stopped by today.
Also Oregon,
of course, Northern Plains, North Dakota, Northern Plains UAS site, which we did a special interview. Josh interviewed them yesterday, and we will be publishing that here shortly. So be sure to stay tuned for that. That's a pre-recorded session, but some really good stuff on what's new there, what's coming. And any final word, Josh, for the community out there?
yeah, it's exciting to see. Hopefully with how much everyone's trying to get that lower airspace covered, as far as using remote ID and RF and radars to help just give that further use cases of drones, and we can go beyond line of sight and just really moving the industry forward. And it's exciting to see so many people who are all pushing for the same thing, and hopefully the legislation will start catching up to that, to where we can really have a viable way of using drones for good to the future.
Absolutely. Well, look, we are coming back up on the good old Echodyne booth, back to home base. Here you go, Josh. And like I said, tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we will have a great conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back to live callers. At that point, we'll be able to respond to your comments live as well once we are back in business. Well, thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.